Book summary: The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. Imagine a world where every action, every decision, and every behavior you engage in is automatic, effortless. This world is not a distant utopia, nor is it a figment of science fiction. It's the world that each of us inhabits every day, thanks to the power of habits. Habits, you see, are the invisible architects of our lives. They shape our existence in ways that are profound and pervasive. They dictate the rhythm of our daily routines, steer the course of our interactions, and even influence the trajectory of our aspirations. From the mundane act of brushing our teeth to the complex process of decision-making, habits play a pivotal role. But habits are more than mere patterns of behavior. They are finely tuned systems that our brains have developed to conserve energy and improve efficiency. They are the shortcuts that our minds take when faced with familiar situations or recurring tasks. They are the automatic responses that kick in when we encounter specific cues or triggers. And therein lies their power. Habits enable us to act without thinking, to function without deliberation, and to respond without hesitation. They free up our cognitive resources, allowing us to focus on what truly matters. They streamline our activities, making us more productive and effective. They simplify our lives, bringing order to the chaos. But habits are not just about efficiency. They are also about possibility. They are the tools that can help us transform our lives. They are the keys that can unlock our potential. They are the engines that can drive us towards our goals. In the coming scenes, we'll delve deeper into the fascinating world of habits. We'll explore the science behind them, examine their role in success, discuss how to change them, and even delve into their dark side. We'll also look at their impact on society and their relationship with our brains. So if you've ever wondered why we do what we do or how we can do it better, stay tuned, because in the world of habits, the impossible becomes possible, and the difficult becomes easy. Welcome to the Power of Habits. Scene script. Behind every habit, there lies a three-step process: a cue, a routine, and a reward. Let's unravel this cycle. The cue is like an alarm bell. It's the trigger that initiates the habit. It could be anything: a location, a time of day, an emotional state, or even a sequence of thoughts. For instance, your morning alarm clock ringing could be a cue for your habit of brushing your teeth. Next, we have the routine. This is the behavior that you automatically engage in once the cue has been triggered. Following our earlier example, after hearing your alarm clock, your routine might be to get out of bed, head to the bathroom, and start brushing your teeth. Finally, we come to the reward. This is the positive reinforcement that your brain receives after the routine, which strengthens the habit loop. The feeling of freshness and cleanliness after brushing your teeth is the reward that encourages you to repeat this behavior every day. Now, why is this cycle so crucial? Well, it's because our brains are incredibly efficient. Whenever a habit is formed, our brain begins to decrease its activity during the routine. It's like putting the brain on autopilot, freeing up mental resources for other tasks. That's why you can brush your teeth and plan your day at the same time without any effort. But here's the catch. Not all habits are good, and once a habit is formed, it is incredibly hard to break. Why? Because our brains don't differentiate between good and bad habits. They only understand the cycle of cue, routine, and reward. In the book, The Power of Habit, there's a fascinating story about a man who lost his memory, but was still able to navigate through his neighborhood. This was because his brain had formed a habit loop associated with the route. Even when his conscious memory failed him, his habits didn't. So, habits are more than just repetitive behaviors. They are deeply ingrained patterns that our brains cling to, and they can shape our lives in ways we often don't realize. Understanding the science of habits is the first step towards harnessing their power. From Olympic athletes to successful entrepreneurs, habits play a crucial role in their success. Welcome to the fascinating world of habits and their influence on success. Let's uncover the secret sauce that powers the success stories we admire and aspire to emulate. Let's look at the life of Michael Phelps, the most decorated Olympian of all time. His coach, Bob Bowman, engineered a set of habits designed to optimize Phelps's performance. Every morning, Phelps would wake up and follow the same routine: a strict regimen of exercises, diet, and even the number of strokes he would take in each race. This routine was a carefully crafted habit loop that conditioned Phelps's body and mind for success. Now, let's shift gears and delve into the realm of entrepreneurship. Consider Howard Schultz, the man behind Starbucks' global success. Schultz understood the power of habit and used it to create a unique Starbucks experience that customers could rely on, no matter where in the world they ordered their latte. This consistent experience, a result of meticulously trained habits among Starbucks employees, played a vital role in the company's growth. But how does one build such success-breeding habits? It all begins with understanding the habit loop, a concept we explored in the previous scene. This loop consists of a cue, a routine, and a reward. By identifying the cues and rewards that drive our behaviors, we can engineer routines that lead to success. Remember, habits are not destiny. They are tools, and like any tool, they can be used for construction or destruction. The choice is ours. We can consciously design our habits to build the life we desire, or we can let them form unconsciously and take us to places we may not want to go. In the end, the power of habit lies in its ability to automate success. Once a successful habit loop is in place, it will run on autopilot, freeing up our mental resources to tackle other challenges and opportunities. Success is not a result of spontaneous combustion. You must set yourself on fire. So let's ignite our habits and set our path ablaze with success. Changing a habit is not an easy task, but it is possible. Now, let's dive into the fascinating process of habit change. It's a journey, not a sprint, and it's filled with both challenges and rewards. Imagine you're a smoker who wants to quit. You've tried before only to fall back into old patterns, but this time, you're determined to make a change. So, what do? You start by identifying the routine, in this case, reaching for a cigarette. Next, you experiment with rewards. Perhaps you substitute a piece of gum or a walk around the block for that cigarette. You're starting to understand the craving driving your behavior, but there's more to it. You need to find out what triggers your habit. Is it stress, boredom, social situations? Once you identify the cue, you can start to develop a plan. This plan is your golden ticket to changing your habit. When the urge to smoke hits, you have a different routine ready to implement. Let's look at another example from the book. A woman struggled with nail biting. She identified her cue as a tingling sensation in her fingertips. Her routine was to bite her nails, and her reward was a brief period of relief. To change this habit, she decided to replace nail biting with rubbing her fingers together whenever she felt the tingling sensation. Over time, this new routine became her habit, replacing the old one. But remember, change is a process that requires patience and persistence. It's like chipping away at a block of marble to reveal the sculpture within. There might be setbacks and struggles, but with each small victory, you're reshaping your habits and ultimately your life. So don't feel discouraged if change doesn't happen overnight. It's about taking one step at a time, learning from your experiences, and constantly tweaking your approach until you find what works for you. Change might not be fast, and it isn't always easy, but with time and effort, almost any habit can be reshaped. Yes, it's a challenging journey, but the rewards of successfully changing a habit are truly transformative. So keep going. You've got this. Habits don't just influence individuals, they shape entire societies. Consider this for a moment. The way we behave, the routines we follow, and the habits we cultivate, they all have a profound impact on the society we live in. But how does this happen? Let's dive into it. Take the example of social norms. These are essentially habits that have been adopted by a large group of people. They dictate our behavior in social situations, from how we greet each other to the way we dress. Social norms are so ingrained in our lives that we often follow them without even realizing. Now think about historical events. Did you know that habits played a significant role in the civil rights movement? In his book, The Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg tells the story of Rosa Parks. Her act of defiance wasn't just an isolated incident. It was the result of a carefully cultivated habit of resistance, which sparked a series of similar habits among others, ultimately leading to the success of the movement. Let's look at another example. Consumer behavior. Our buying habits directly influence market trends. Companies spend billions of dollars studying our habits to predict what we'll buy next. They shape their marketing strategies around these habits, creating a cycle that affects the economy as a whole. Habits also play a role in public health. Trends in exercise, diet, and smoking habits significantly impact the overall health of a population. For instance, a rise in sedentary habits has led to an increase in obesity rates worldwide. From these examples, it's clear that our habits have a ripple effect. They don't just stay within the confines of our personal lives. They spread outwards, influencing everything from social norms to historical events, consumer behavior, and public health. And so, the power of habits extends far beyond individual self-improvement. It's a societal force, a collective pattern that shapes our world in ways we often overlook. By understanding our habits, we can better understand ourselves and the world around us. Not all habits are beneficial. Some can lead us down a destructive path. Now, this may seem a bit daunting, but it's an essential truth we need to acknowledge. Habits, like most things in life, have a dual nature. They can be our greatest allies or our most formidable foes. Imagine a path well trodden, a familiar route you've walked countless times. This is what a habit is like in our minds, a neural pathway that's been reinforced over time. The more we traverse this path, the more ingrained it becomes. But what happens when this path leads us not to our destination but off a cliff? This is the dark side of habits. They can lock us into harmful patterns that, left unchecked, can have serious consequences. Take, for instance, the habit of smoking. It starts as a casual act, perhaps a way to cope with stress or just a social activity. But over time, it becomes a deeply ingrained routine, with each cigarette lighting the way to the next. Despite the well-known health risks, breaking free from the grip of this habit can feel like an insurmountable challenge. Or consider the habit of procrastination. It might start innocently enough, with the occasional delay in completing a task, but slowly, it can morph into a habit that hinders productivity, creates stress, and even impacts one's self-esteem. These examples illustrate how habits can be destructive, leading us down a path we never intended to take. But don't despair. The same mechanism that enables these habits can also be harnessed to break them. Remember, our brains are wired for efficiency. They are designed to automate repetitive tasks, freeing up our mental resources for more complex activities. This means that with conscious effort and consistent action, we can overwrite bad habits with good ones, creating new, healthier pathways in our minds. The power of habit isn't just about harnessing the good ones, it's also about breaking the bad ones. Remember, we have the power to shape our habits, and in doing so, shape our lives. Our brains are wired to form habits. It's a survival mechanism. Let's delve into the fascinating world of neuroscience to understand the relationship between habits and our brain. You see, our brains are always looking for ways to save effort, and this is where habits come into play. They make repeated behaviors more automatic, freeing up our brain's resources for other tasks. This process, known as chunking, is at the very core of habit formation. Imagine driving a car. When you first learn, every action requires thought and effort. Over time, however, driving becomes automatic, a habit. This transformation happens in a part of the brain called the basal ganglia. While the rest of the brain is engaged in complex tasks, the basal ganglia takes over the routine, habitual activities. But how does a behavior become a habit? It all boils down to a simple neurological loop comprising three parts: a cue, a routine, and a reward. The cue triggers the brain to go into automatic mode. The routine is the action we perform, and the reward helps the brain remember this pattern for the future. Take brushing your teeth, for instance. The cue could be waking up in the morning. The routine is the act of brushing, and the fresh, minty feeling afterwards is the reward. Over time, this loop becomes so ingrained that it operates without conscious thought. The power of habit also sheds light on how habits can be changed. By keeping the cue and the reward the same, but altering the routine, we can reshape our habits. This is known as the golden rule of habit change. It's fascinating, isn't it? The way our brains work to form these automatic behaviors is a testament to our incredible adaptability as a species. And it's not just about making life easier. Habits can also play a vital role in our health, productivity, and happiness. By understanding how our brains form habits, we can better control them. By harnessing this knowledge, we can transform our lives one habit at a time. The power of habit is a force to be reckoned with. It can shape our lives, our success, and our society. This truth underscores the significance of the habits we form, the routines we establish, and the unconscious actions we perform on a daily basis. In our journey through the power of habit, we've learned that habits are not just idle routines, but intricate patterns imprinted on our brains. These patterns, once established, are difficult to break. However, understanding how they form is the first step towards changing them. We've delved into the science of habits, discovering that every habit, good or bad, follows a loop: a cue, a routine, and a reward. This loop is the fundamental structure of habits, and by manipulating these components, we can reshape our habits. We've also explored the profound impact of habits on success. Successful people, businesses, and societies harness the power of habit to their advantage. They cultivate beneficial habits and break detrimental ones, driving their growth and prosperity. But habits have a dark side too. they can lead us down paths of addiction and self-destruction. Recognizing these dangerous habits and working to break them is crucial for our well-being. We've seen how habits shape societies, driving collective behaviors and cultural norms. And we've recognized that by changing our individual habits, we can contribute to societal change. Finally, we've peered into the brain, the control center of our habits. The brain's plasticity allows us to form new habits and break old ones. It's a constant battleground, but with understanding and effort, we can steer it in the right direction. In essence, habits are powerful. They can make us or break us. But with knowledge and determination, we can harness their power to drive positive change in our lives and society. Harnessing the power of habit can change your life. It starts with understanding, then taking action. The rest is up to you. The summary of the key points of the book, The Power of Habits, are the following. 1. Habit loop. Duhigg introduces the habit loop consisting of cue, routine, and reward, which explains how habits are formed and can be changed. 2. Neurological patterns. The book delves into the neuroscience behind habit formation, explaining the role of the basal ganglia and how habits are etched into our brains. 3. Golden rule of habit change. Changing habits involves keeping the same cue and reward but altering the routine. This principle aids in transforming undesirable habits into positive ones. 4. Habits in organizations. Duhigg explores how habits shape organizations, how successful companies capitalize on habits, and the importance of habit formation in business success. 5. Small wins and keystone habits. Small victories and keystone habits can lead to widespread changes. By focusing on specific habits, one can influence other areas of life or organizations. 6. Social habits and movements. The book highlights the impact of social habits on individuals and society, citing examples of how social movements are often based on shared habits and behaviors. 7. Habit loops in personal life. Understanding habit loops can help individuals modify personal habits, break bad habits, and build new positive routines. 8. The role of willpower and belief. Willpower is a finite resource, but habits can help conserve it. Moreover, belief in the ability to change is crucial for successfully altering habits. 9. Habits and personal transformation. Duhigg emphasizes the potential for personal transformation through habit modification, offering real-life stories and case studies. 10. The habit loop as a tool. The habit loop framework presented in the book serves as a practical tool for anyone aiming to understand and modify their habits effectively. Thank you for watching and sharing. By Book Summary by PM.